So what's your disagreement with Kurzweil?
So my disagreement is that he sees, the singularity building to where we will become cyborgs, right? That, there's the next thing that these
There's something wonderful.
Something wonderful. I see it the opposite, that if you take it to its ultimate conclusion, that the system is not sustainable. And the metaphor, which I said near the end of the talk, I didn't quite complete the last piece. I left it out. I said, we are on an accelerating treadmill. So we're on a treadmill, but we have to, faster and faster, we have to change treadmills, right? Which are going faster and faster. And
this is going to make a great YouTube video.
The piece that we can't, the big question is, can you continue to do that without having a heart attack? The whole system collapsing. Because if you take it to its logical conclusion, so what does that say? That says that the time, socioeconomic time, is not this time. It's not this linear time of the watch and the clock and the sun, the earth going around the sun. The time is governed by the dynamics of these networks, which tells you that the clock is going actually faster and faster and faster. So something that took 1,000 years to do 10,000 years ago only takes 20 years now. And that time frame is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter if you took it to its logical conclusion. That is, if the same dynamic continues at work. So the question is, can we change that dynamic? Because that dynamic is over the edge of the cliff. And the only way of solving that is there's dramatic solutions, which are, of course, going to the stable configuration of all of us becoming hunter-gatherers, which none of us want. The alternative is...
I tried it once. It sucks.
Yeah, it does sound good. Exactly. So we don't want that, although that may be the stable configuration of human beings, but we don't want that. Obviously, we want all of this. And to get all of that and have this, we need to somehow change the growth metaphor in such a way that maybe what we can do is tolerate periods of stagnation, even collapse, followed by these kind of superlinear
and oscillate.
Yes, much more. And that means that we have to adapt. We have to adapt society to change, to change that is both up and down. It's not the image that everything's getting better. I think has to be thrown out. That one is not sustainable, that everything getting better and bigger. And it is very much, one second, and it's very much, the image is of those idiotic bacteria thinking that they have, what looks like an infinite time and it's 5 seconds left. Because our growth trajectory, all of the phenomena that we talk about is growing exponentially.
How old are you?
70.
There you are.
Soon to die.
Yeah, look at me too. If you were a 24-year-old physicist hearing this, wouldn't it sound kind of exciting and not so
yeah, it might.
Self-extinguishing?
Yeah. No, it might. No, it might. I'll tell you my concern is the following. I actually think that ultimately, this, as I keep emphasizing, this is very much work in progress. I'm sort of, I didn't do it, but I should have sort of taken off my shirt and my vest and so on, and really let my hair down, and that's what I'm doing here, is exposing things that have not been published and speculate. So, I believe that one could find a way of stabilizing the system. Okay, but the trouble is that we've left, my concern is less that than we've left it too late. That is, we should have started, like you did, 50 years ago, well, maybe not 50, 40 years ago.
I did what?
Thinking about these kinds of questions.
These people have been thinking about long-term.
That's what long, and I'm thinking, and we have not. I mean, we as a society have not. We've blindly gone ahead. So, for example, I hope everybody realizes this, when they say, when President Obama says, growth rate in the last quarter was only 1.75% or 2%. And the Republicans clobber him because it's not fast enough, and he's looking for 4 or 5%. you do realize that 2% still means it's exponential. It's still exponential. It's just a slower exponential, but it's still exponential. We're still like those bacteria. That is the paradigm.
Okay,
And so that's so the question is, my concern is we have that in our heads and we're not going to sustain it, and the thing that's going to be the problem is social unrest. Social unrest when we start getting into approaching collapsed situations.
berserkers blowing up things and stuff like that.
Yeah, people getting, already, it's amazing that we don't have people in the streets already, frankly.